Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful misty morning here in Maryland. I'm in Zone 7B, Maryland. It is cool, probably in the 50s right now. I can actually feel the mist. It's very, very foggy. A great morning to do some filming since the sun is not so harsh. Things are looking really beautiful here at I guess we're kind of towards the beginning of September. It's September 12th today. So we're kind of running out of time where we're going to be able to do these little garden tours since it's getting to be the end of the season. So I want to get in as many of them as I can just to kind of show the progression of my garden as we progress through fall here. I guess we're technically still in summer, but there are definitely signs of fall. So let's get started and take a little walk through my yard. We're gonna back up and I'm gonna just come back and show you something that I planted. I guess it was last week. I made a video on some of my new purchases and plantings that I was doing. And I said that I was gonna be trialing some varieties of rudbeckia. And I wanted to show you one of those varieties here in case you missed that video. This is an Indian summer rudbeckia that I put in. It is technically it's like a tender perennial, a temperennial, I guess is another word for it. And that means that it may or may not come back for my zone. But my plan is to save seeds from it and maybe order some seeds as well, just in case it does not come back for me. But I really want to see how this does for me because I love the really large flower heads. They're probably at least 4 inches across. And I'm trying to see if there's any varieties that would do better for me over in my main flower border right there that are a little more upright and would last a little bit longer, just stand out a little bit better in that bed. I had some issues with my black-eyed Susans. I think they're the Goldstrom variety, just not looking the greatest this year, just really flopping and not showing off the way that I had hoped. So I'm just trialing some different varieties to see what I can do about that. My autumn joy sedum has its beautiful rosy tone. I absolutely love it. And I am telling you, yesterday I was out here working all day, well not all day, most of the afternoon, just planting and cutting back and working out here on the side, and the bees and the pollinating moths and just all of the pollinators were all over this. It was crazy. Now they're not because the sun's not out, but such a wonderful attractor of pollinators here in late summer, early fall. Love, love, love this so much. And right beyond it, I had put this little patch of raspberry ripple zinnias in that is looking really good. Another one of my favorites. Definitely gonna grow this next year. As we're coming kind of towards the end of summer, I'm really reflecting on things that I wanna do next year and not do. My Thomas Edison Dahlias sadly took a big hit from a storm that we had, and it is losing its leaves. The leaves are turning brown and just falling off. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, but this poor dahlia is not looking so good anymore. It was looking so beautiful, but I am still getting some really pretty flowers. Such a beautiful, just deep purple. And let's just take a walk in through my main flower border here and see what's going on. You can see that things are looking just a little more fall toned with the black-eyed Susans going over my grass. We've been trying to water it and revive it, but we are going to need to overseed it. So you can see all of the dead patches that just are not going to come back. So we have plans to do that this weekend, hopefully. My zinnias are finally taking off and popping, although they are getting a little bit smothered out from my Mystic Spires blue salvia. Ooh, and there's a hummingbird. Oh shoot, I just missed it. I'm still seeing hummingbirds, not as many as I had been, but they are still around, which makes me very happy. So anyway, I was saying this Mystic Spires Blue Salvia has just taken over this bed, and it is gorgeous. I love it. I'm not sure next year what I'm gonna do. I do love the full look of it. I don't know if I'll try to thin it out a little bit or give it a much better support system, because my bamboo trellises are not really doing the job anymore. They've just gotten bigger and bigger and are just flopping over at this point. So I might have to figure something out with that, but I am so happy that I'm finally getting zinnias. I love zinnias. I think they add so much beautiful color to this border right here. Oh, here comes Rosie. Hi, girl. Are you inside? Did you get let out? Want to say hello to everybody? Right behind my zinnias, I have my purple hyacinth bean vine that is finally starting to take off. I got this in a little bit late this year. It is rambling all over the trellises up there. I think if I do this next year, I may add one more. I have 2 here, but I may put like 3, one on each outward facing side. It still has not gotten its flowers or its seed pods. I'm hoping that it gets them by the end of the season. You can see my salvia right here is really flopping over into the zinnias, but I really just can't get in there to stake it because of all the bees that are constantly flying around, and I think I'd probably break off more stems than I wanted. Here is my Limetta hydrangea, definitely crisping up as the season goes on. The other one is totally crispy. You will see in just a minute here. My crepe myrtle is trying to throw out a few little tiny flowers, but mostly it is finished. The bark is peeling a ton right now and looking really pretty. And right in front of my crepe myrtle are these Dahlias that are doing fantastic. They are huge, just what I wanted them to do over my boxwood hedge. I have this winter gem boxwood hedge all along the front here that is really doing well. And you can see here is my Limetta hydrangea that has gotten more sun than the other one and is totally crispy by this time of year. So definitely looking like fall right there. Just coming around is my denim and lace Russian sage. I love this plant so much. It gives color all season and looks so beautiful, especially right by this whole border of raspberry ripple zinnias that I am in love with this year. Look at how well those are doing in this bed. They are by far my best looking raspberry ripple zinnias. Each plant was grown from seed. Just one little tiny seed produces all of these beautiful flowers. So I am definitely going to probably repeat this next year. I am not sure that I'm going to repeat what's behind it, but it is really starting to come into its own. I had planted these zinnias that were really struggling because I had had so much rabbit damage, but they are finally starting to take off and flower a little bit for me. And I had also tried to do a hedge of the purple basil. I think I updated you on this on my last tour. This one is doing amazing, and that's was kind of the feel that I was going for, was this solid hedge of purple basil behind my raspberry ripples. But you can see that the plants never really took off for me. There's some there. They're just sprinkled all behind these raspberry ripples. So I don't know if they'll continue to grow much or not for the rest of the season, but I am loving the dahlia, or the zinnia blooms. And then I do have one dahlia blooming. This is another Thomas Edison that just doesn't get enough sun here, so it really didn't take off, which I kind of had anticipated. And then right next to it was a creme de cassis dahlia that still is not blooming. My dream is to get like a little fountain or a bird bath for right in here. The one that I want is so expensive. So I'm trying to decide if I want to wait for that one or if I want to look for something that's a little bit cheaper. So hopefully I can get that going soon. But yes, I am just obsessed with these raspberry ripple zinnias right here. They are gorgeous. Let's take a walk back to the gate, and I'm gonna walk you through my main flower bed, main flower border over here. You can really see the dead of the grass. We deal with this every year. It's really frustrating. One of my dreams for hopefully sooner than later is to put an arbor over our gate to really just make this area feel much more enclosed. Grow some kind of a vine up that arbor. I'm not exactly sure what vine I'm thinking of at the moment, but that is definitely something I want to do maybe next year, like a metal arbor that I've seen a lot of them on Amazon, so I'm gonna have to check that out. I put in this little hedge of desert sunflowers. They are a little bit uneven. This side must not get as much sun as this side because that one on the right is more of what I had anticipated that they would all be like, at least that tall, but nonetheless they are beautiful for this kind of fall time. So pretty. I'll be cutting some of them soon for some arrangements, but they are so beautiful and they are multi-branching, so you can see that they put off all of these little smaller sunflowers at the bottom. So they give you a lot more than the single stem variety. The single stem varieties might give you a bigger flower head, but these tend to last a little bit longer through the season. And I do have more that I was planning to put in the ground, but I may just leave them up on my deck. I haven't quite decided that yet. And then this is our D-runk boxwood hedge that will get about 10 feet tall eventually, and just again help to provide that nice enclosed feeling here in our garden. And these are my Magellan zinnias I grew from seed. These have not performed like I was hoping. They are covered in disease, like fungal, it looks like a fungal issue on the leaves, and just never really took off like I thought they would. So next year I'm gonna think about something different to do here. I'm not exactly sure what, but something different. My Fall in Love Sweetly anemone are looking so pretty. I think that these might be a little bit past their peak. They're definitely browning in certain spots, and I'm not sure if they maybe get a little too much sun here. We're gonna have to just see how they do over, I'll probably give them at least a year to see how they perform, because I did just transplant these into this spot this year, so that's why they also may not be looking their absolute best. And right next to them is this limelight prime hydrangea that has the beautiful rosy pink coloring on it. My hydrangeas did not get big this year. The bloom heads were much smaller than last year. I'm not sure if that's because of the drought that we've had or what, but that was kind of interesting, a little disappointing. HS State Dahlia is really showing off. Love this dahlia. I do want to get more of this and spread it along the front here. You'll see I have some Mystic Illusion down the way that are bright yellow, and I'm thinking of replacing those with that HS State Dahlia and moving them somewhere else. I have another patch of raspberry ripples that isn't doing quite as good. This one surprisingly does have some issue with some kind of fungal issue or something down at the base, which none of my other raspberry ripples do, so I'm not really sure what went on with this one, but still pretty, still just adding a nice pop of pink right here. In the future, I do want to be better at adding in more annuals along the front border here, along the edge, just to really give this border some more color here as we get into fall. I think would be really, really nice. This container heading back here was a family, I don't know if I would say heirloom, but it was my grandfather's. It's just an old galvanized container, and I always put in just a combination of herbs. I think that it's so cute right here. Just a real cottagey feel, mixing in herbs with the perennials. And we're up close to the black-eyed Susans. This is the time of year. I think, Patty, you were saying that it's the great debate this time of year when we have to decide whether we're going to cut back our perennials or leave them in the ground, or leave them up, I should say, for the birds. I kind of want to leave them for a little bit just to see if I can attract some goldfinches. I think that that would be really neat to see. And then I will probably eventually cut them back because they aren't the most attractive looking thing to leave up, and they were really floppy, so they just kind of look weedy and messy to me right now. So next year, I anticipate that the catmint and the lady's mantle along here will really start to fill in unless I move them. I don't know. I'm debating on spacing them out a little bit differently so I have room to add in some annuals as well. But my goal is to really just see no soil. I want a full garden bed. I don't like seeing soil. That is my end goal. I have a pink coneflower that I had recently put in, and a fire profusion zinnia that's really struggling, not doing well at all, but offering a little bit of color. And yesterday I planted this agastache. This is, I believe, the straight native variety. You can see a couple tiny little buds right here, but this will begin to fill in this whole area right here and produce those beautiful purpley spikes of color here in late summer into fall. I am so excited about that. And that'll really attract some pollinators like butterflies, which I really want to up my game with next year. And I did decide to put in my bee balm. I had this in a container up on my deck. This is the Jacob's Climb bee balm. You can kind of see there's a few petals left, but mostly it's done. But this will get taller than the agastache. It can get 5 feet is what I've read. So I'm hoping that that will kind of tower over the agastache and attract tons of hummingbirds and pollinators into this garden. I think will be absolutely amazing. And it is a little bit aggressive, but I will have to just keep it in check. And I think that it'll do well right in front of those Rose of Sharon because they have a lot of roots. So I really need something hardy and tough that will kind of take over a little bit. Otherwise, they just kind of probably won't do anything. I am still getting some blooms in my Rose of Sharon. Right now, they're not open very much because the sun is not out and they're dwindling down a little bit. They're not flowering as prolifically as they were just maybe a month ago. But still looking really pretty. I added in another coneflower. I'm gonna see how these do. This is another powwow pink coneflower. They have fizzled out on me almost every year. So if they do the same next year, I'm gonna go with the straight species, Echinacea purpurea probably in this bed to see if they do a little bit better. They are a little bit more hardy and just kind of naturalize a little bit better, I think. So that is my plan with that. My gomphrena is getting some blooms. However, it did not take off like I thought it would this year. This is the Strawberry Fields gomphrena. I really was hoping to have a ton of it for drying and cutting, but that just wasn't the case. I don't know if they just didn't get enough sun right here or what, but just, yeah, kind of sat there most of the summer. This Dahlia is trying to put out some blooms. This is the one I'm thinking of relocating and adding in an HS date because I think that the yellow is just a little too much with the black-eyed Susans. I feel like it could do better somewhere else. Another favorite, my Helen Bonstein lamb's ear is looking beautiful as always. Right in front of my little lime hydrangea. Again, really tiny flower heads this year, just like the Limelight Prime. Another happy yellow dahlia popping out right there. I do love the dark foliage on that dahlia. I think it's so pretty in the garden.
more of a repetition of the catmint and the lady's mantle. Don't mind all the dirt. That was from me digging around yesterday. And just the grouping of the, I can't see it right now because there are no flowers, but this was a powwow pink coneflower and Nephofia, the black-eyed Susans and daisies. The Nephofia I have not cut back because I did read that you're supposed to leave that up until the spring. It helps to regenerate the root system and just helps them to come back better the next year. So I am going to leave those up. And right down there, I did put in another agastache and bee balm. And I really did struggle with that decision because I had the elephant ears in those locations, the same on the other side. But the elephant ears did terribly. And every year they just did not get to be the size that I wanted. So I did decide to put them in a container. I think Lorraine, you had suggested that. And I did move them to my containers. I'll show you. And then I'm going to bring them inside, like you said, and overwinter them in my garage and use them maybe in another application next year. But I did just want that bold foliage right there. But I think that I just now want to have this be mostly a perennial, kind of attracting all of the pollinators that I possibly can from this long border here, with some intermixings of my hydrangeas and some of the more structural shrubs and perennials as well. This is another thing that I want to add more of throughout my gardens. This is the caramel heuchera. It has done so well for me, and I love how it stands out against the dark soil. I think it's beautiful. I want to add it down in my shady border. I want to add it in the front. I love it so much. My zinnias over here are also starting to bloom right behind these wee white hydrangeas that have seen better days. Yesterday I was out working and a hummingbird was all over this zinnia right here. It was so pretty. I will insert my footage for you guys to see. And then I have zinnias just popping up through my little bench, my garden bench back there, right in front of my Twombly's red sentinel Japanese maple. That will be getting its red foliage soon, I'm anticipating. And then I'm also thinking about adding in maybe some derunk boxwoods behind this, just to give a nice green backdrop behind my maple there. I do have a bunch of foxglove in there that came up in the spring, and some will come up again next year. But just to really, I just really want this whole space to feel enclosed and just private, and just even more and more like just our little kind of garden oasis back here. So that is kind of my thoughts for this area. My husband and I have enjoyed sitting in these chairs in the evenings and just sitting out, enjoying the flowers, seeing if we can spot any hummingbirds, butterflies, all of the things. My patio and looking down into my shady border, I think is looking so pretty right now. I have the lights on because it's so foggy out. But I am just really enjoying this view right here, right now. I think it's so pretty. Let's take a walk on my patio. I'm going to show you the container over there that I had put the elephant ear in just a minute. And I just wanted to kind of, I don't know, let you know what's running through my mind about this whole area back here. I really want to soften up the back wall here, and I would love to add window boxes underneath my windows. I'm not sure if my husband will be up for that, but I would love to do that someday. And then right behind those chairs there, I really think I want to do like a bench of some sort, like a rustic kind of cottagey looking bench that's maybe comes up no higher than the siding there, and do a collection of containers, maybe some topiary, like some evergreen things, I think that would stay there all season, all year, I should say, would look really pretty. And then, I don't know, something climbing up the wall or some kind of wall art or something, just to really bring some charm to this back area, because right now this looks really pretty, but this whole section is really lacking in charm and beauty. And then right over here is where I would love to do like a potting bench. I'll show you an inspiration pic I have, and just really make this whole little corner beautiful and into this really quaint, like cottagey looking potting area. That is my kind of thought for this back patio. I'll swing you around and just show you, I put in an elephant ear into this container that I had to take some plants out of, and I'm just kind of playing around with this whole area. I'm gonna hopefully be working on it for fall, just bring a little bit more fall inspiration to this corner and give you more details about this little thing I have going right down there that I'm not sure if it's working properly, but I am really enjoying it nonetheless. I am loving this little container of, this is the autumn joy sedum in this little ball jar. I think that it's so cute. These had just fallen off of the plant and I thought, why not put them in a container? I think that they're so pretty for this time of year. Let's just take a quick walk up on my deck, and I'm just going to show you some of the things that I moved around and changed a little bit yesterday. All right, so this is our deck. There's some work to be done up here as well, just to bring that charm that I'm looking for up here. But this is our dining table out here, and where I start a lot of my seeds and plants. Those plants are kind of in waiting. I have my desert sun sunflowers right there, and some dahlias that I do not think are the dahlias that I thought I ordered. I was supposed to be getting a dark leaf dahlia, and the flower was supposed to be this beautiful open center dahlia that was like pinks and reds, but I don't know what dahlia that is, so that'll be a surprise. I have just a mangy looking mint pot right there and some foxglove waiting to go out into the gardens. And then my hummingbird container, I have been fertilizing it, so I finally have some blooms coming on my lantana again. And the Persian shield is still looking gorgeous. I have, these are Magellan zinnias, and they have been doing well all season back here, the yellows. And the hummingbird attractor vermillionaire, this is what they come for all the time. I'm telling you, it's like gold if you want to attract hummingbirds into your garden in containers or in the ground. I have a salvia that has been a little bit shaded out by the Persian shield, and my pink geranium is starting to bounce back. I've tried to cut back the Persian shield so that it has a chance to rebloom. And then some agerenum and some alyssum that I haven't been super crazy about, but that's good to know for next year so that I can make some changes. And if we just take a walk over here past my dining table, I did take out some plants. I showed you that I planted my bee balm. This is where I just tend to stick everything that I'm not sure what to do with or I want to try. I don't put a whole lot of thought into it. It just kind of evolves as the season goes on. But I'll show you, this is where the bee balm was, in this tall container right here. And I took an elephant ear from my long border over there and put it in here. We'll see if it puts on any growth for me. And then I moved these begonia. This is the Proven Winners. I always forget the name. It's the double pink or something begonia. They were out front and they weren't doing well, so I dug them out of the ground and put them in that container. I think that that works really well for the remainder of the season. My Bordeaux Supertunia is slowly dying on me, so I may look at something just to replace that with. I only have 2 plants left in there. My mandevilla never took off. Next year I'm gonna do at least 2 in this container so that it climbs way up and hopefully rambles over my lights. That was kind of my goal for the mandevilla. Coming down, this is one of my favorites this season, was this beautiful ornamental oregano, the Kent's Beauty. Look at the tiny little purple flowers that it gets. Isn't that so pretty and cute? I love it. That's a keeper for next year. Some overwintered geraniums. This was the campfire marshmallow bidens, which I meant to actually point out in my other container down on the patio. It has done so well down there. This container, it doesn't have holes, it's just an old crock, so I think it hasn't done quite as well in this one. But my goodness, down on the patio, it is so beautiful and amazing. These are some proven winter strawberries that I'm trying to save. They were really decimated by rabbits in the ground this year. And just a French marigold that I grew from seed. And this is a container of Magellan Zinnias, a little patio tomato, tall blue ageratum I am kind of obsessed with. I'm definitely going to grow more of this next year. I love it, love it, love it. Ageratum in general, definitely growing more next year. These are the Apricota Cosmos that I grew from seed that are continuing to do really well. You can't tell right now. Let's see if I can find any, but they get a beautiful tinge of kind of apricot-y color gold. You can kind of see it more on this one. If you can see the slight variegation in striping, it's almost like stripes of gold throughout some of the flowers, and it's facing towards the sun right now, so it's facing away from us, but these have been really pretty and really fun to see come into bloom. I had also grown these sunflowers from seed. These were in the ground and not doing well, so I dug them up and just stuck them up here in this container. This is the Soraya sunflower. I really love the classic look of them. Next year, I think I might just try to grow them in containers up here on the deck and see how they do, if they do any better for me, but really, really pretty. Here is the campfire marshmallow bidens I was telling you about. That's just beautiful. You see how it's just taken over this container. It's really done well right here. This spot right here definitely gets part sun to part shade, but my goodness, it is so, so pretty. And just one more shot of the view from right here on our patio with the containers and those raspberry ripple zinnias. I just love how they spill over onto the patio. I think next year I probably will add one in front of that Russian sage as well, just to go all the way down. But man, they are so beautiful. Rosie's up there being such a good girl. She's like, Mom, why are you just walking around the yard talking to your phone? I just don't understand. She has been very patient with me and such a good little garden buddy. But I'm going to show you a couple additions to my shady border and just a few thoughts. This is the area where I planted this gorgeous camellia. Oh, it's doing so well. I'm so happy because I had lost 5 of them over in the corner, down in the corner over there. But this one is doing fantastic. It's an April kiss, beautiful large pink blooms in the springtime. And then I planted these hosta from my front porch. I did a video on dividing these hosta, and I'm gonna admit that I really do not love them. They always look terrible by like midsummer, even if they're in shade. Like they get mostly shade right here. They just do not hold up well. So I think just my long-term plan is gonna be to get rid of these and replace them with maybe a different kind of hosta or just something else. But they're just kind of acting as a placeholder in my garden for right now. And then my river of impatiens is doing okay. I did not fertilize them like I did last year, so they are not nearly as robust as last year, but still looking really pretty. So I'm going through a great debate in my head about these beautiful Annabelle hydrangeas. I love them here. They are doing fantastic. They love being underneath the river birch tree that is right behind them and overhead. However, my thought is I want to add hydrangeas to my front porch. And in this space right here, I would kind of like to work on creating a little more privacy. Like I said, I want this whole back area to feel, oh my gosh, that bird freaked me out. It flew out from the skip laurel hedge right behind me. But anyway, I'm sorry. My goal is to create just this real kind of private garden feel back here. I do have a hedge growing in the corner right there that will eventually grow up and be just this really nice squared off hedge of viburnum. And I'm tossing around the idea of replacing these with some oak leaf hydrangeas that really do well in the part shade. They offer really pretty fall color. They get like this really pretty kind of reddish color in the fall, and they get a little taller. So they, I think if I'm remembering correctly, anywhere in that 6 to 8 foot range. That's just something that I'm thinking about. If you have any thoughts or suggestions or ideas about that, I would love to know. I do risk these Annabelles not performing quite as well because they won't be protected by the trees. So I'm wondering if they would get a little more floppy on me. I'm not sure. So let me know if you have any thoughts about that. I also have some clumps of the all gold Hakanachloa grass just hiding back in here that as it grows, I will be spreading throughout this border and just kind of inserting it in different places. I think will be really, really pretty. I have some clematis growing up these obelisks that I may need to rethink and maybe do something that does a little bit better in the part shade conditions that this area gets. And I did add a couple of new things down in this border. I really want to probably rearrange a lot of this next year in the spring. A lot of the hostas need split and just kind of rethinking it a little bit. I do have some hellebore growing in here and a Japanese painted fern I'm saving right back there that's covered with the cloche, and some columbine and foxglove, and this is a Roseanne geranium right there that I just put in this year that really, didn't flower for me, but I kind of expected that. And a Wiggles and Squiggles hosta, and then I added in this little autumn frost hosta that I really, really love. I love that coloring so much. And I really would like to add more of those to this whole area back here. I think it would really brighten things up. And then these heuchera are not doing anything, so I'm probably gonna remove these and relocate them or something. Think of what else I wanna do in this space right here. I have brilliance autumn ferns that are kind of towering over the hostas, so I may need to rearrange, this whole configuration a little bit. And you can see my hostas are looking really pretty, but you can also see how they look compared to that patch over there. That patch was a patch from my front porch. Just looking pretty terrible. So, but these hosta have really beautiful broad leaves and just are looking a whole lot better. But this is an elegance. This is completely covering up one of my viburnum that I put in right here for this hedge. I have the sweet Tucker viburnum all along the back here to create a hedge. So I'm gonna have to do some rearranging. That is my Woo La La, my biggest hosta. And then just a repeating pattern. And over here, I added in this anemone. This is a September charm anemone that is not blooming yet, but I am hoping that this will do well and that I can have it just popping up all throughout here and adding this whimsical touch to the fall garden. I think that it would be so pretty just scattered all throughout this area. and I'll show you a picture quick of what the flowers look like. I see this at our local garden, Ledoux Gardens, and I always love it every year. So that is just the pink flower that it gets on these tall, wiry stems. I think would be so, so pretty. And an up close look at how bad these Hosta look right here. Oh, they look so pretty when they come out in the spring, and then they just, do this. So yeah, hopefully I can replace those someday. My ultimate goal someday, that I don't know if it'll ever happen or not, but I really would love to put in a level walking path. You can see more so maybe from this angle that in our dead grass, that this whole, it's like a hillside right back here. So you basically are walking on a slanted hill to get over to that gate. So it's really not usable, but I would love to put in a path from the gate and have it meander all through here, and then do some raised, like some kind of a wall along here, and have that all be plantings, or maybe even some kind of a water feature in front of those laurels, those skip laurels. So have basically the grass would be just about gone, except for maybe the pathways. I don't know if we would keep that grass or not. And then have this whole like corner down in here be some kind of almost like a little patio area, like a level sitting area right in here. That is my dream, but like I said, expensive, so who knows when that will get done or if it will ever get done. But that is just my vision. If I had all the money in the world to do what I wanted, that's what I would do. But one thing I probably will be able to do is add an arbor over this gate right here to again create more of an enclosed feel. I think would be really nice. And I'm really happy with how this little bed is turning out right here. I think that it's just a nice little surprise here at the end of summer that I really did not expect. So let me just show you, and I also just want to show you quick, don't mind my hose that's out down there, but I am also loving that Russian sage. That's another denim and lace. I'm gonna do 2 more and have that be a little hedge. I love how it pops off of that Weigelia. I have some anemone down there, and those are incredible hydrangeas, and 2 more flanking my gate right here. These are both incredible hydrangeas. The right one has not taken off like the left one, and it's getting its brown tips for the season, for the end of the season. This is just what they do. I still am in awe of the little hedge of sun patience right underneath it. I love them. Definitely going to repeat that next year in some form, and maybe add them over here as well. I think would be super pretty. Walking in through my gate here is where I have these viburnum. These are more sweet talker viburnum that I showed you over in my corner shady bed. So you can see that they will get big. We are going to need to trim these very soon. We're going to keep them in more of like a squared off hedge, maybe like 8 feet tall or so is my guess. And I have these zinnias that are still not blooming, except for one. Again, a case of rabbit decimation over here. I'm hoping that by the end of the season I can have some blooms, but I guess we will see. Just swing you around. I am very happy with this. Oh, there is the sleeping bee. Aw, so cute. I just love the little bumblebees. Rosie is pawing at my face. There are more sedum autumn joy that I propagated from my plants over by the air conditioning unit. I think I'm going to do a little video on that and how easy it is to propagate this sedum and just kind of spread it all throughout your gardens. So it's not looking the greatest. You can see it's kind of floppy and just not mature yet. I just really put this in this year. So excited to see how that does next year. But my goodness, I love Ageratum so much. I think it's so beautiful. It goes so well with so many things. I have it paired here with some fire profusion zinnia that is doing so much better than my main flower border. I really think I have a soil issue over there. It's very sandy soil, and I just think things don't take off as well over there for some reason. Maybe it is the sandy soil, I'm not sure, but I really just love this combination in the front here. And then this is an American Gold Rush Rudbeckia, another one that I am trialing that I really like. I think I'm really gonna be excited to spread this throughout my gardens. I think it is beautiful. It's a little more compact. It stays really upright. It's very sturdy, and it is disease resistant. So all of the good things. These are some coneflower I'm saving from the bunnies that may be relocated next year. My Oh So Easy Red Rose is stunning right now. Look at how well it is doing. Oh, wow, it is really pretty. So that is going to be a real stunner as it matures and fills out that space right there. And a lavender that I grew from seed that is cut back at the moment. And then this is a honeysuckle vine that I also put in this year that is still maturing, but it has these beautiful pale yellow flowers that have rebloomed for me. There's some at the top here. And then it also gets these berries. This is a Proven Winners Sensation honeysuckle. It also smells really good. So I'm super excited to see how that matures over the next year as well. But just really enjoying this little bed here, and I really just didn't expect to enjoy it so much. This was kind of my leftover bed that I just, you know, kind of throw things in. So yeah, very, very happy with that right now. I forgot to show you, this is a milkweed back in here that is looking really awful. I had bought this on one of my latest trips when I did my perennial plant haul, and it quickly was covered with aphids and all of the things, so it's looking pretty bad, but that is a native milkweed. I really just want to add in more things that are host plants for pollinators, for butterflies, and I want to add in things that help feed all of the pollinators. Just kind of a mixture of everything, as much as I can fit into this little, you know, square feet space that we have back in here. And we're gonna end back in my main flower border over here. I hope that you guys enjoyed this early September walk through my yard, and that you guys are enjoying your almost fall gardens as well. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.